Hi guys, Sam here with today's thought for the day. And as I said yesterday, we're thinking this week about some of the stories and some of the things that happened to Elijah in the Bible. And today I wanted us to think about another story that happened to Elijah. So yesterday, Elijah was under a tree feeling depressed, asking God to take his life away. And an angel came and gave him food and helped him to rest. And so straight after that, Elijah gets up and travels for 40 days and 40 nights and comes to this cave in Mount Sinai, which is called the Mountain of God. And so he goes into this cave, and God speaks to him and tells him to go out onto the ledge and stand before him. And so Elijah gets ready to go out, and this massive hurricane passes by, this great wind that shakes the mountain, and Elijah knows that God's not in that wind. And the next thing that happens is that an earthquake rushes through the mountain, and there's shaking all around. But Elijah knows that God's not in the earthquake. And then this massive blast of fire goes past the entrance to the cave, and Elijah knows that God's not in the fire either. And then he hears this gentle whisper, and he knows that the gentle whisper is God. And so he goes out of the cave, and God speaks to him, and God tells him what he's going to do next, and that's what we're going to come on to tomorrow. But I wanted us to think about this still gentle whisper that God speaks to Elijah through. And sometimes for us, God's voice isn't the loudest voice in our life. In fact, I'd venture to say that it's extremely rare in our life that God's voice will be the most dominant or the easiest to hear. Someone once told me that listening to God is like a radio. The radio's always playing, whether we're listening to it or not. But if we want to listen, we have to tune in. We have to, like an old-fashioned radio, you'd have to turn the dial and find the right frequency. And God's always speaking, and God always wants to speak to us and guide us, and that can be in various different ways. Maybe it's through someone else, maybe it's through the Bible, maybe it's through prayer, maybe it's through a dream or a picture that he shows us. There are many, many ways that God can speak to us. Maybe it is through a direct voice like Elijah, but it's difficult sometimes to pick out God's voice. It's like that radio where we've got to tune in, we've got to be listening. And so that's what I want to challenge you with today. Through this really difficult time in our lives and in the life of our country, what are we listening to? Are we tuning in and trying to listen to the voice of God and trying to think, God, what are you saying to me through this time? Or are we being distracted by the louder voices and by the things that can so easily just pull us away? So have a think about that and try and spend some time tuning in and seeing if you can listen to what God wants to say to you through this time. So thanks for listening, and remember to subscribe if you want to keep up with these thoughts for the day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.